Can I be impartial?
Illustrations by me.
Look, there are a lot of artists, not just artists, but artists in general. They have their brand of whatever they're using, whether it's paper or watercolor or whatever. And that's what they use. And if you say, nah, it's not really for me, they get upset with you. So today, I'm going to show you I can be impartial. I know I did the schminke thing, and people were not crazy upset, but some people, they got a little defensive. Today I've got the Daniel Smith PrimaTek line. It's a 36 dot set. They're separated into 4 paints for each, where the schminke had the 5 paints for each category. And I'm going to swatch these out for you and give you my opinion on these paints. And then in another video, I'll do a painting, a drawing, whatever, with just using these paints and let you know how I feel about it. Now, I might put them together. I'll show them to you together so you can see the schminke paints, you can see these. I know they're supposed to be granulating, and I know I'm going to put them down too concentrated on the paper for most people. They're going to tell me I'm not doing it wrong, or I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I should be adding more water. I'm definitely working them the wrong way. I'm okay with that. This is how I use these paints, and I can see the granulation just fine. So just like I saw the granulation in the schminke paints, I didn't have a problem with the granulation. I thought it would be a little different, but I didn't have a problem with it. Everything was just fine. So today we're going to talk about these. I'm going to critique them just like I did the other ones. Some of these will be just as diluted and not as strong and hard to get off the paper. I already know that. I'm okay with that. It's not the biggest problem over there. Let's just get into this, and I'll point out all the same flaws for most of them probably. But we're just going to go with these. And this is my number one. I use Daniel Smith paints, and I use the PrimaTek line. I use some of those paints. So this is my number one paint that I use, and I'm still going to criticize it. Okay, let's get into the swatch. Okay, so I have it set up the same way. You remember when I did the schminke, I did just like this, and I did it by the color family. So this was Volcano and Galaxy and Deep Sea. And I just went down the list and did that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, just like the other one, I'm going to do them in a family of 4, and so I'm going to let you see the whole family of colors based on that one, and then I'll just later go in and zoom in so you can see them a little bit closer. But I'm going to do the same thing. It's going to be done just like I did this one, and I wanted you to see the whole. This is the Volcano. Everyone, this is what they think about Volcano colors, and I want to do that for you with the same thing here. So that's exactly how I'm going to do it. So this is the set that you get. They come on these dot cards. They're a little bit nicer of a dot card than your typical dot card. They're a little bit bigger. So the old Daniel Smith dot cards that had little tiny dots. These are much bigger dots. So I'm hoping, and some of these colors, I probably swatched these out already in here, but I think there's a new color or two on here that are not in here. So that'll be good to see. Now the schminke dot card size was just about the same as the Daniel Smith on the bigger dot cards. So it was keep in mind, just that little dot is what was visible, and then I put some watercolor on there, or some water on it to spread it out, but it was just a little dot before. These are much bigger, give you a little bit more, but I hear that these are harder to wet, so I'm going to do them the same way I did these. I'll put a dot of water on, I'll let them sit for a second, and then I'll just start painting, and whatever comes off, comes off. If I got to scrub it a little bit more, I'll let you know. They give you this little chart, but I'm almost positive that none of these colors are going to look like the chart, because when I go online and I look up these colors, I know that they don't look like the color that I see on my screen. It's a different color here. So, and I'm going to use a water brush just like I did on the other one. I want to keep it as fair of a comparison as possible. Okay, now this Rhodonite Genuine, it comes in the generic set for the watercolor. If you look at the PrimaTek watercolor and you get them, it comes in that generic set. So I am very familiar with it. I have used it several times before, and it's just exactly the way that I remember it. It's a pink color. It's just pink. And I'm going to wait and see a little bit. I'm going to get down to the end, let it dry for a little bit, and then go back into it and say, can I see any granulation in there? I know people think I use too much concentration of paint, not enough water. Just let me do what I'm doing. You'll see. And this is Garnet Genuine. It's I guess rockin' red. It's just I guess it's a reddish brown. I could see that. This is Minnesota pipestone, and when I look at this color, really what I think of is the inside of a pipe that's been sitting around for a while, and it just kind of gets all rusty and ugly inside. This one comes off a little bit weak. It's a little bit harder to re-wet. Not terrible. It also, the dot kind of dissolved a little bit more than the other ones, but that's okay. So maybe it's not that it's harder to re-wet, it's just more diluted. It's just a lighter color. Now this one I was very interested in. This is the Bloodstone Genuine. And from what I understand, it has a reddish hue or like a reddish undertone to it that you're supposed to be able to see. And that's a very rich color. It's a very nice black color. When I put it down, I'm going to say this 100 times, but when I put this down, I see that it looks kind of like a cool black, but with a red undertone. That's a weird thing. Usually you think, okay, a cool black, maybe it has like a bluish color to it, but it's supposed to have this little pinkish, and I can already see it start to come out a little bit, little pinkish undertone, but it's very dark, like a cool black on top. Definitely a nice color, and if I go back up here to the rhodonite, I can see the granulation in here. It's not a different color. It's the same color. It's just granulating particles. Sometimes they can do that because they have it as larger particles and smaller particles that just kind of separate out from each other. It's not always two different color paints like it is. Then the Schmenke, I believe they have multiple different color paints, and that's why they separate a little bit. Again, I'm using a rough watercolor paper. So the rough watercolor paper is supposed to granulate a little bit more because there's a lot more hills and valleys to separate the pigment in. We'll let them dry. I'll go on to the next one. Okay, so the red earth starts off with the hematite burnt scarlet. Let's see how that is. And that's, yeah, for whatever reason, as soon as you say the word burnt, it's usually a little bit lighter than maybe some other colors would be. And, and I understand. I'm putting this on very thick over here, and people are going to yell at me for it. Don't worry about it. I understand that you like to do very light washes when you use your granulating paint, but you let me use my granulating paint the way that I use it. Now, PrimaTek Genuine is a color that I'm very familiar with. I use this color all the time. I use it in a lot of my paintings. It's one of my favorite colors. It's usually always on my palette, and I enjoy the fact that it has this reddish undertone to it. So it's a dark brown, but then it separates out and you get that reddish undertone in the lighter areas. If you wash this out enough, you can almost get a pink with it. Now, Mummy Bauxite, I remember this being very difficult to re-wet when I had the other dot card, the full set of Daniel Smith colors, and I got to this color. It was very hard to This was not hard to re-wet at all. As a matter of fact, I probably put it on a little bit too thick. I probably should have put it on a little bit thinner. But I scrubbed it a little bit because I remembered it being a little bit too much. It was just too harsh. And now it doesn't seem harsh at all. Now, I have always mispronounced this color. It's not Sicklerite, it's Sicklerite. So this is Sicklerite, and again with the brown. So this is supposed to be red earth, I guess. But this is, to me, this is not a red earth color. Not even a little bit. It's a very warm, yellowish, greenish brown color. It's definitely not a reddish brown color. The other ones I can see a little bit. And I'll even say that this has a slight light pinkish maybe undertone to it. You can see the separation. You can see the granulation. This is very much a very reddish brown. This can even be considered a light reddish brown. This I probably would have put in the baked earth side. It's definitely darker and more like a dark yellowish greenish brown. But a lot of granulation I can see in it. And it's very nice. It's very pretty to look at. Okay, first in the baked earth is this Yavapai. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's Yavapi or Yavapai Genuine. And it's supposed to be a part of the baked earth. And I can see that. I can see the yellowish coloring in it. It definitely has a little bit of a yellow undertone. So I would put that in this baked earth set. I completely agree with that. And here's where I would deviate from that. This Sedona Genuine. I would not put this in the baked earth category. I'm sure it has something to do with maybe the processing and not so much the color. But I would put this in the red earth. If it was me, I would swap this one with this one here and just swap it out, and that would be in this side. That's just me. That's how my brain works, but my brain's broken, so don't listen to me. Now this Tiger's Eye Genuine this one was a little bit, I say it's harder to re-wet, but it's actually not. It's just a lighter color. It's not, because I used a good part of that dot just trying to get some of this out of here. So it's definitely just a low tinting strength, I guess is what they would say. And while it is a color, to me, it looks like an ugly color. This does not look like Tiger's Eye to me. If you've ever seen a precious stone, Tiger's Eye is beautiful and it has a lot of different streaking in it. It looks really nice. This doesn't look like that to me. I'm not saying that it's not. Now listen, I'm not saying they didn't grind up real Tiger's Eyes and put it in here, because that's what they're supposed to do. If it's called that, it says Tiger's Eye Genuine. I'm assuming that they ground up some Tiger's Eyes and they put it in here, but they say on the packaging that no animals were harmed in the making of this paint, so I'm not sure how it can be genuine. And this is the burnt Tiger's Eye. This is probably a firefighter tiger who ran into a burning building, maybe singed his eyes a little bit. They put it in this paint here, and I will say this is a nicer color. This is more like a sepia-ish color, and I like that color. I think it's very nice. I think that'll granulate very nicely. I think it's a much better color than this one. I probably would never use that paint. Now, as I'm waiting for some of the water to sit on those other cards over there, I want to just go back through these two here. You can see as it dried a lot of granulation in these, and they're just beautiful colors. Even though the granulation is the same color like in this one, the granulation is the same color as the paint, but it still looks beautiful. There's a lot of granulation in it. If you can't see the granulation just because it's put on thick, then you have no idea what you're looking at. It's very easy to see the granulation here. When I zoom in, you'll see it. And as it dries, they're just getting better and better. Again, I don't like that color, but the granulation is there. You can see it a lot up here, even I think from the distance that you're at right now. You know, this one I know was hard to re-wet from the last dot card, but not this time. It was easy. Again, it's a lighter, it's a low tinting strength color, but this Bronzite Genuine is very nice. These are the red sands. I don't think that's red at all. That looks like a yellow sand. I don't get it. See, if you look at these two, they're very similar in color, kind of. This is more red, but it's baked earth. It's supposed to be more of a yellowish color. The red sands, that's more of a yellow color, and that should be more of a red color. So they don't know exactly what they're talking about when they name these titles up here. The Bronzite Genuine, that's probably Bronzite, but I'm just saying the red sands doesn't make any sense for this one. Now this is the one I really wanted to see, this red Fuchsite Genuine. It's hard to get a nice red, granulating red color, and especially in this muted tone. This is next on my list. I think this is one that I'm going to get immediately because I just absolutely love the shade of that color. It just comes off beautifully, and you can see the granulation right away. You probably can't see it and you're going to yell at me, but I can see it. And now this is, okay, I want to point something out here. It's Fuchsite. It's F-U-S-C-H. It's Fuchsite. That's how you pronounce this one. Just keep that in mind for later down the road, okay? Now this is a missed opportunity. Here they have a Tiger's Eye and a burnt Tiger's Eye. But then you go back to the, oh no, it is still in the same, just ignore me. It is still in the same family. This is the burnt Bronzite. There's the regular Bronzite. I thought it was in a different family somewhere. Don't pay any attention to me. Most of what I say is nonsense anyway. If you listen to me, you'll probably lower your IQ points just a little bit. That's okay. I'm okay with that as long as you are. And if you're not, you should probably stop or go run away. Just flush your ears out or something. You have to re-brainwash yourself. That way it's clean. Just brainwash it all out. This is another one with some promise. This red Jasper Genuine. And it's a little bit more brown than the red Fuchsite. But it's still a pretty color. I like the color. I think it's a good color. I don't have a problem with that. So if any of you have kids or grandkids, or if you are a kid, I want you to just say it with me. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. These are all, I would consider them reddish sands. That's what they look like to me. This does not, although it is kind of sparkly. That's very interesting. But anyway, I'm going to go through that too. I'll try and get the sparkle on camera too. So I'll just, when I zoom in, I'll just try and flex it a little bit so you can see it. There's a little bit of sparkle in that one. So it's pretty, but it's definitely not a part of this set. I don't know why it is. These two could have switched easily. No, not these two. This one should have switched with this one, but they could have switched that one with that one. It could have been right there. Matter of fact, that Garnet Genuine should be in this red sand set. Although it is a rockin' red, so I can't complain about that one. Oh, that red fuchsite has a lot of sparkle to it too. It's a sparkly paint. It's got some of that flex in it. It's interesting. Now, if there's one thing I hate more than anything, it's glitter. But as long as it is in the paint, I'm okay with it. As long as it's not little specks of plastic that I'm going to inhale, or mica, or whatever you want to call it, that I'm going to inhale, that's going to get in the carpet. I'll never get it out. Unless it's that, I don't like that. But in the paint, it looks kind of nice. And in ink, I like it as well. I believe that's mica as well. But it looks nice there. So as these start to dry, you can definitely see the granulation in them. Absolutely beautiful colors. Very strong, vibrant. That's a wonderful thing. That's all I ask for. This is the Royal Purple family. This is Purpurite Genuine. It's a nice color. It's a very nice purple. I don't tend to use purples very often, except for the Perylene Violet. That's one of my favorite colors. But other than that, I don't usually use purple. But if I did, that's a beautiful purple color. I like to mix my purples. That's what it is. I usually use the Mayan Blue Genuine, which is coming up later somewhere. And then I use the Quinacridone Red is the other color that I mix it with. And it gets pretty close to this. It has the granulation from the blue, and it gets to this nice light purple. But if I just wanted to use a convenience color, this is the one I'd use. This right here is beautiful. This Purpurite Genuine. Okay, now Amethyst Genuine also comes in this. Wow, that's a dark color in the starter set. That kind of wet very easily, so I have to water that down a little bit. But it's a beautiful color. Let me try and get that color off just a little bit. That thing re-wet like it was coming out of the tube. It was So yeah, anyway, beautiful color. I believe this one sparkles too, which is why I never used it. Is just because that purple sparkly color, it just kind of, I just related it to glitter a little bit. It freaks me out a little bit, but I might have to get over that because I love this color here, and that's sparkling like crazy. There's a sparkle monkey in there. This is Sugarlight Genuine. These purples are dead on. That's what they're supposed to be calling them, and that's what they are. They are definitely the Royal Purple family. But anyway, this Sugarlight Genuine, I'm assuming this is what the inside of my intestines look like when I eat sugar, because that's just how it should be. This one is a little weak for me. Very weak tinting strength here. It was harder to get onto the page. It dissolved fine on the card. It wasn't that it was hard to dissolve. It's just, it's not very strong. And here's another hematite color. It's a hematite violet. There's hematite colors on here. There's a burnt scarlet. There's the, coming up over here. So here's hematite genuine on the end. It'll be hematites all over the place. There must be a lot of hematites around. I don't know. I'm a North Carolinite myself, but if I ever met a hematite, I would definitely not be prejudiced against them. So this is a pretty color. Now, one thing that, we're going to get to that hematite genuine, but one thing I don't like about that is how dirty it looks sometimes. And I can see this looking a little dirty too, because the black separates out in the color. So in the hematite genuine, the black, you'll see when I do it, the black separates, but the undercoating is also, like the undercolor is also black. So it's very light black. So it's more like it's almost clear, but then there's the black granulation in the clear. You'll see when I get there. At least that's how it was when you use it from the regular PrimaTek set. That 6 color set, the starter set. But this one, again, looks a little dirty. It's still a pretty color. You can see the red undertone here, but I see a lot of like black dirt on top of it, and that looks a little bit weird to me. I don't not necessarily like that. It's different than the Bloodstone Genuine. I thought that's how this was going to turn out, but it doesn't. You can see that pink coming through, and the black doesn't look like a dirty color. This looks like there's just dirt on it. But when you use it more in like a mass tone, I like that color. I think that looks pretty. Okay, this is Kyanite Genuine, and that is a beautiful color blue. That is probably one of my favorite color blues that I've ever seen. I don't know. I'm sure that's going to sparkle on me and just give me a reason not to like it, but I don't see that I'm not going to like that. I think that that's going to be a very pretty color, and I'm just trying to take that away because this particular color, I just want to see how that separates a little bit more. It may not. I don't even know. But that is a very beautiful color blue. When I go for blues, this is the kind of color I'm looking for. This actually looks like, I don't want to put it directly next to it because some of those colors are still wet, but that almost looks like this indigo color here. Only this indigo has like a little bit more of a greenish with the blue and a little bit of pink. And this looks just more with a little bit of pink undertone. But it's a beautiful color. I really like that color. I might get that. I want to see how that color compares to the Mayan Blue Genuine because I might replace the Mayan Dark Blue for this color. It's just a very moody, like grayish blue. And I really enjoy that color. I would probably paint everything that I own in that color if I could. Okay, now this lapis lazuli is supposed to be very hard to re-wet, and I believe it could be. I might not have enough water here at all. Hold on here. Let's see if I can get a little bit more water. Yeah, it's a very low tinting color, but and it's more of a reddish blue. It's more towards the warm blues, like almost like an ultramarine or something. And that's definitely not my color blue. I'm not a big fan of that color. I know people love ultramarine blue. That's their favorite color in the world. Not so much for me. I just want to... I like to lean more this way. More of like the yellowish or greenish color blue. That's kind of the way that I lean. And here's the Sleeping Beauty Turquoise Genuine. Weaker tinting strength again, but... not terrible. Not terrible at all. It's not my favorite color turquoise. So this is the Phthalo Blue Turquoise, which leans a little bit more blue. And I like that color turquoise much more than that color turquoise. It's just that leans more green, that leans more blue. I like my turquoise to lean a little bit more blue. Which is why, if you look at this here, this is turquoise for the Schminke. And I like this color blue more than that color blue, definitely. See, you thought I was crapping all over the other brand. I'm telling you, some of those colors I like more. Now this is a color I use all the time, a Blue Apatite Genuine. Yeah, I got that way too thick here. That just melted off the page. It was so easy to re-wet, so it just kind of, it melted off the page, and it's very concentrated. I got to try and wipe that off a little bit to lighten that up a little bit just so you can see that it's a color. So, but Blue Apatite Genuine, one of my favorite colors. It is definitely a little bit more green, but it's more green than like the Mayan Dark Blue or the Payne's Blue Gray or something like that. But I love that color. It's definitely a beautiful color, and it does granulate very nicely if I can get that to happen here. But it liquefies on the page as you pull it off, so it just dilutes very easily, very easy to re-wet, and it's just one of my favorite colors. I love that color. Now let's go back up here to this Kyanite Genuine, and the color has remained the same. It is sparkly as all anything, but the color is just a beautiful color. I absolutely love that color, and I'm probably going to get this. This has to be on my list. You can see how that phthalo blue I don't know if you can see. But that phthalo blue turquoise just stained the crap out of this brush because it's very, very heavy tinting strength. But that's okay. I don't mind it. Okay, so looking back at these blue beauties, I wish that this one was moved over into the Oceanic and the Mayan Blue Genuine was then moved into the blue beauties. But this is not up to me. I can't decide what's happening. These are all greens, clearly, and this one should be in the green pile. But this one here should be in the blue pile because these are all clearly blues. So, I don't know. It's not up to me. I didn't name these, and I didn't figure that out. But I hope Daniel Smith in the future will see this video, because everybody's going to see this video, I'm sure. And then they'll say, oh, yeah, you're right, Pete. We should do this. Maybe they'll make my own set called the Pete's Beauties. And then I could put whatever colors I want in that. So this is Amazonite Genuine, directly from the Amazon. Wow, that re-wet really easily. I thought that one was going to be hard too. It's not. I'm just trying to clear that up a little bit because it went on a little concentrated. But it's a very strong color, and it's a pretty color. It's more of just a light green, like a Prussian green maybe? I don't know. No, the Prussian green's a little bit darker, but it falls in that bluish green area. Okay, now I'm not going to say this next word because it'll demonetize my video. But I want you to understand, this says fuchsite, F-U-S-C-H, fuchs, okay? That's okay. This says F-U-C-H-S-I-T-E. I'm not saying that, but if I was going to pronounce it fuchs, it would be fuchsite, and that one would be fuchsite, and this is fuchsite. But I don't think that's how it's supposed to be pronounced, so I'm not going to do that. This is like the mintiest green you've ever seen in your entire life. This is the color of wintergreen right here. This what this color is. It's a definitely, it's not for me. I don't like this color at all. I would never use this color, but I'm sure it looks nice. It looks like it sparkles a little bit maybe when it dries. I don't know if it does, but it looks like it could. It looks like a pearly color. I wonder if you could put that on some black watercolor paper and it would pop off a little bit, but it could. I don't know. I should try that. Okay, I just want to try that here and see if that actually... It seems to. It seems to show up pretty well. I don't know what that's going to do when it dries. I will come back to that and see how it shows up when it's dried. Maybe I'll just put a little bit more concentration in there and see if it thickens up a little bit. But that might be something you do on black paper. It would probably be the only way I'd ever use this color because I don't like that mint green color. It's just not for me. We'll come back to that in a couple minutes when it dries and see what it looks like. So, okay, Jadeite Genuine, one of my favorite colors. I use it all the time on palettes. Wow, that came off really dark. This color is very easy to re-wet. It almost reminds me of like a phthalo green, but then there's granulation in it. There's definitely... It granulates pretty good. And I had to lighten it because of how dark it came off on there. But it does granulate. And there, usually what I see is little, I know they call it brown, but to me it looks like little flecks of red that show up in the granulated area. But it almost looks black when you put it straight down. So I could run like a perylene where it looks almost black. It could look like a phthalo green up in here. And then it lightens up a little bit and then gets these little red flecks in them. It's a very interesting color. It's nice. You can use this one color if you're doing trees or bushes or something. I'm very familiar with it. I used it for a long time. It also comes in that introductory PrimaTek set. That's how I was introduced to it, and I've used it ever since. And you can get the dark shadows and the lightest highlights, and it just in the same bush or same tree, and it just looks very nice in there. And it looks a little natural because as that dries, the little bit of red comes out into it, and you can see that a little bit, and it looks like, it just looks natural. It looks like there's a little bit of branches or something coming through, or a little, you can see the branch or something, whatever. So this color kind of baffled me. A lot of people like this color. I can see it. I understand it. It looks like I guess like a sap greeny spring green or something. I don't know. It looks very interesting. So here's the original sap green. This is the PO49, which you can't get anymore. So this is the original sap green. Very, very similar colors. Even the dark areas look similar. So if you need a good sap green substitute, go for this. It's a really good substitution. A lot of people don't like the new sap green from Daniel Smith because it looks a little different than this one. So if you don't like it, go over here and use that one, and that'll do it for you. It's almost a direct replacement. It's actually a granulating sap green is what it is. So I would use that instead of that. In my case, I like the way that the granulation makes it look like a mossy covering. So it's a little bit of darker spots and lighter spots that you can see in it that already or the texture kind of forms in there, and you don't have to make the texture yourself. You just let the paint do the work for you. And so that's a great color to try. Okay, let's revisit this fuchsite here. That I'm calling it fuchsite because I'm not going to say it the way that is. But anyway, you look at it here and look at that. It looks like it's that right there is twinkle toes in a bottle right there. That is the most sparkliest thing I've ever seen in my life. But it's I don't know. I'll show you. I'll zoom in on this one too. When I zoom in on the rest of them, I'll zoom in on this one and show you that I've never seen so much glisten and twinkle out of something in all my life. So, but it does. It looks nice, and if you use this on the black paper and do something very nice, the whole thing will just glow. It'll just catch the light and just glow because of the sparkle in it. That would be the only reason I would ever get this paint, but I would get it for that reason. It looks very nice. I enjoy that. Listen, if you enjoy these types of videos, if you enjoy these types of swatching out and hearing my ridiculous opinions on things, please let me know so that I can do some more of them. I like doing these too. Do this and then do a drawing or painting with it and then see what kind of result I can get, which I will do with these as well. So, but yeah, if you enjoy these, please let me know down below. Now, for some reason, this is in the Oceanic. I have no idea why, but this is the Mayan Blue Genuine. It's one of my favorite blues that I've ever seen in my entire life. It was a lot easier to re-wet than I pictured off of the last dot card. Of course, I have this in a pan, and it works very wonderfully. I use this all the time in a lot of different paintings. I love this blue. I love how it granulates, and you can see how it would complement this down here. Up here. But this is definitely a blue that I'm more suited to. So it's similar. I like this blue a lot, and I'm going to definitely get this. But I really like this blue. It's my favorite blue that I've ever seen anywhere in any paint set, and so I use it all the time. It's a little pricey. It's a PrimaTek line, so it's a little bit more pricey. But I will never be without this paint. I absolutely love it. It should not be in this set. It should be in the blue set. This one should be here and this one should be here. That's what I'm sticking to. And so Daniel Smith, please make that happen. Just do that for me. Code Pete minus 20%. They're not going to give you anything if you put that in, by the way. That's just what I tell them. They don't give it to me either. Don't worry about it. Okay. So I'm looking at this. It's kind of a generic green. I would probably go for if I was going for this kind of green, I'd probably go for that Amazonite Genuine because it's a little bit more of a bluer shade to it. Just a little bit. It's not really a blue shade at all. But it's interesting when you start putting colors next to each other, how they relate to you. Your eyes play tricks on you. They absolutely do. So now this color looks nicer than this color or this color or this color. So I would go with this color over them, but I still probably wouldn't go with this color because I like the other color better. You get what I'm saying. This is diopside Genuine, like I slapped you up diopside head. So this is a very dark green too. That came off very easily, and I oversaturated that a lot. You're going to see way too much color there. So let me just water this down a little bit so you don't get overwhelmed with that. Now see, here's what I'm having to do with these, and this is the difference between the Daniel Smith paints and the Schmincke paints. That's just in my opinion, just for these granulating paints. This is the difference. I've had to dilute these to not make them just cover the page in a color of black because of how strong and saturated these colors are. The other colors, not saturated, I had to scrub and scrub to get them. I think I did that on one of them or something, but it didn't really matter. It's not that it didn't come off the card, it's that it wasn't very tough. It wasn't a tough tinting strength. Like this one here, I know, I use different words to explain things. Tough to me means it's not very vibrant, it's a weak tinting strength. You see what I'm saying with that? So this one, very weak tinting strength here. I didn't have to scrub it. It came off the card very easily. It's just that it was a weak tinting strength. This one here is so strong that I had to dilute it entirely because it would have destroyed the paper. Maybe not the paper, but it definitely, you wouldn't have been able to see the difference between this color and this color if I just put them full strength on there. Okay, this seems to be one of everyone's favorite green. This green Apatite Gen. Oh, I did it again. Son of a gun. So it's too saturated. It comes off the page way too easily. It just, that dot card just melts away. But anyway, so this is supposed to be some of everyone's favorite green. Honestly, if I'm looking at the two of these, I might go for the Serpentine a little bit more. It's more of that sap green that I used to use all the time. I used to use sap green continuously. And so if I was going for that, I'd use this. This is a little different. It's got that sapish green color, but it also gets that's very dark. I have to lighten that up a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely a different color. People love this color. This is, for some people, this is their go-to green, is Green Apatite Genuine. They have no other colors on their whole palette that are granulating, but this is the one they go for. I can see it. I see the enjoyment here with the granulation and the colors that come out and how dark it can get, but how light it can get, just like these other ones here. But in my opinion, I like this color better, and I like this color better. I'd probably use these two greens over this green and just try and get whatever I have to out of it. As a matter of fact, this one I've used for so long, I'm just so used to it, I know how to use it exactly how I want to. But this one I'm not familiar with. And I can see the allure to it. I can see why people like it. But this one is better for me, I'd say. So after looking at these, I'm going to get to this one. But you see why this one should be here and this one should be here, right? Because this is more in this vein. And this is more in this vein. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me. But that's okay. It doesn't have to. I'm not the owner of the company in any way. I don't even understand why this is a purple. That is definitely, I know it's called violet, but that doesn't look purple to me. It looks like red and like black specks. So I don't know why that's happening. I am torn between these two here. I wanted to add a granulating reddish color to my palette, and between this one and this one, this one and this one, I'm a little torn. I love that color red. It's just that it is so sparkly, it's almost distracting. That one is more of a brownish red, but I have a brownish red. I have those colors. I don't know. That one's a little bit, I don't know. We'll see. Now they're making claims that these are going to change you. They're metamorphic black, and they may not be too far off. We can see this is the Sodalite Genuine, and that's a very interesting color. I thought it was going to be more gray. Every time I see other people use it, it looks more gray. This doesn't look that gray. It looks like an indigo almost. So if you see here, this is indigo, and that color in there looks just like that. It looks like that's indigo. That's what it looks like to me. And I like the color, but it's definitely not one of my favorite blues. And I thought that was going to be my next color. I use this one, and I like this one better than that. So I may not get that at all. I thought I was going to be on with that the whole way. I said, yeah, it's going to be a gray color. Nice granulating gray. That's what I want, and it's not at all. This is the Zocyte Genuine. Wow, that was easy. When I did this on the regular dot card, when I swatched that out, that was so hard to re-wet. It was ridiculous. But again, this is one of my favorite greens. I like that perylene green look, and this has it. It's actually a little bit more of a gray, like a greenish gray. So I have to see when it dries if I actually like that. But it's a pretty color. Here's the hematite genuine. You see what I'm talking about, that it's very low tinting strength, so it almost looks like it's just clear water with black specks in it. I'm going to try and get that a little bit more concentrated if I can. It's definitely coming off the dot card, and I have this color in a palette somewhere. I know I did use it for a little while. This comes in the PrimaTek basic set of 6. I just never really found a use for it. You know what this would be good for? If you were just doing like a black and white study of like the moon or something like that. This might do that for you because it does granulate amazingly well. You'll see that here. I mean, you can almost see it now. It's just granulating as you're looking at it. But which that started to do a lot too, a lot more than I thought it would. But it's a very, very granulating paint. I used to mix this with other colors to give them some granulation, but the granulation would then just be black flecks everywhere. So if you had like a bright red or something, it would be red with black in it. It would just look dirty, that's all. And this is the black tourmaline genuine. It's a little bit different than that, but it's very similar. It's a little bit stronger in the tinting strength, I think, but very, very similar, I think, in that color. Now, I know some of you are going to say, oh, look, you used more water. I didn't. I used the exact same, except unless it was going to, like, destroy the thing. But I kind of did that, and then when I did the same thing in the other one. It's just that I went from top to bottom instead of from side to side. You can see that right here. I did from top to bottom. It's a little bit darker. Here I did scoop off a little bit, but there's no granulation in that spot, so I don't know what you're talking about. But it doesn't really matter because I saw all the granulation in that. I zoomed in on it and showed you all the granulation, and it looked wonderful. Of course, this paper's like all warped up now, but that's okay. We're going to go and, okay, here's what I want to do. So let's say I look up here and look at that rhodonite genuine. That's not the same color, is it? No, it's not. How about I go for the kyanite genuine? That's not the same color. That's like a reddish blue. That's more of a yellow or greenish blue. I'm telling you, these things, don't believe any of these. Don't look at this and say, oh, I like that color, because you're not going to get it. It's not going to be in there. I don't know what that is. It's all online, I think, but mostly the ones that I look at the most are Daniel Smith. So I can tell you for certain, Daniel Smith colors on the computer or on these little sheets that tell you what the color is, they're wrong. They have to go to their printer. You know, they have things. They go to their printer and they will match up the color on the sheet to the color that it actually is. Oh, I'm not showing it on the screen, so that's I'm a moron. But they'll match up like the color to the color. Like this red fuchsia. Where is this thing? Okay, there's the color. There's the paint. It's first of all, you can't see any sparkles in it. That's fine. But it's a dark, deep red. This is a light, like a deep pink. That's a deep red. It's different. It's not the same. Look at the Sidonia genuine here. It looks red, or this is not red. It might be like an orangey color, but it's not red. It's like an earthy orange, and that looks red. Everybody's a liar. Don't listen to anybody, especially me. All right, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on these, and we'll get down into the nitty-gritty so I can show you some of the granulation that's in these. All right, I hope this is really good in focus. Okay, so you can see all in here the separation. I don't know if you can see that very well if it's showing up on camera. I don't know why it doesn't show up on camera the same way that you see it. But there's granulation here you can see. I know I put it on thick. I know that everybody's going to yell at me and tell me I need more water in order to see the granulation. But I can see that granulation. If you can't, that's your problem. Okay, here's the garnet genuine. Again, this I put on very thick up here. But you can see granulation in it. You can see the darker spots. They're just the same color. But you can see the darker and then the lighter. And as the paper lifts and goes up and down, you can see what's sitting on top and what's sitting in the bottom. So is Minnesota pipestone genuine? I think I just stuck my arm in the black tourmaline, but that's okay. Don't worry about that. That's my problem. So the Minnesota pipestone genuine here, you can see it pretty well. This color is one of, I love this color. I can see a little bit of red or pinkish, not red. It's like a pinkish color underneath that bloodstone genuine, which is probably why it's called that, but still gets jet black. It's just beautiful. I love this color. I may get that color. Hematite Burnt Scarlet, I don't see the red in it. A little bit maybe. Maybe a little bit around the edge. This one I probably have to dilute a lot more to see that little bit of pinkish color. But I would get it as a brown. I would use this as a brown, absolutely. I like the color of this brown. It's a beautiful, true, neutral brown color. In at least my eyes it is. And I like it. This is one of my favorite colors. I use it all the time. PrimaTek Genuine. You can see that pink. You can get a very light pink out of that color, and then you can get like a darker reddish brown color. So beautiful color. I use it all the time. You can definitely see the granulation in it. You can see kind of around in a circle here, this granulation here. You can see it a little bit up here. It's just a pretty color. I really like that one. The Mummy Bauxite, very surprisingly how much paint came off in that, so it got really dark here. But even in the light spot, you can see some granulation in here. But really, it's just a beautiful color. It's a nice color brown. I probably would not use this color brown anywhere, but look at the granulation. If you were going to do, like that, to me, that looks like the surface of a color of a planet or something. Like if you're looking at a planet in a photo from NASA, that's what that looks like right there to me. The Yavapai, Yavapai Genuine, that's what that is, and that's an interesting color, but it's kind of like just a neutral brown. I probably wouldn't use it because there's so many other colors that are just prettier than this color, but it's there and it works. Sedona Genuine, more red than I would use for a brown, even compared to this, and I say I would use that for a brown, but this is just like a bright, I'd say more yellow red. It's more of an orange color. So if you were looking for an orange in this set, you might go here. I want you to tell me, if you're looking at that set there, does that look more orange or does that? And does that look more orange or does that? See, this is what this should have been. This is the volcano orange. It should have been this color. It should have been this intensity. This is pathetic. I can't use this at all. This is beautiful. So if I was going to use an orange or an orangey brown, I would use this color and I would not use this color. I would have been so pissed off if I would have got that. Anyway, that Tiger's Eye Genuine is an ugly color to me. I don't like it at all. It does have all the granulation. You can see it in there. If you like that goldish yellow, it's like a gold yellow, which I don't like. I don't like the gold yellow stuff. But if you do like that, this color's for you. Now that color I would use. That's a nice color. Even compared to this one, this is has more color to it, more shade to it of the red, a little bit more red. But it's more of a neutral. I can't get them both on there at the same time. But this one here is probably my favorite. I would use this one first. But this would be second in line for that type of thing, and there's a little bit more granulation in here than there is in the other one, but it's pretty. All right, that red sand, I don't know if you can see it. I'm gonna try and do it. Hold on. I don't know if you're seeing it. Is it doing it? Are you seeing the flecks and the sparkles? Is it doing it? Oh, maybe when I do that, did it do it? Anyway, this is sparkly as anything. It's an interesting yellowy brown, but I probably wouldn't use it. It's right up there with the Tiger's Eye to me. It's just not a color I would use. Oh my goodness, I love this color. I think you can probably see that without me moving it, but can you see, I know it goes out of focus a little bit when I do that. Can you see the sparkle in that thing? My goodness, it's just a beautiful color. I don't know if I can use it with the sparkle. I'm going to try though, because I love that color. It's just a beautiful color. It's just almost like a potter's pink with maybe not a pot. I don't know. It's just a pretty color is all I'm saying. And I really enjoy that. And just with the sparkles in it alone, it looks really nice. Here's a burnt bronzite genuine. And that thing, that sparkles a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. It's very little. There's very little sparkle in it, but it does a little bit. I don't know if you can see it the way that I'm moving anything, if it's helping or just making it blurry, making you sick. But anyway, it's not a bad color. I probably wouldn't use it because it's just as generic. It's a generic brown color, I guess. Not for me. The red jasper genuine, that's interesting. That's interesting to compare to this PrimaTek genuine, although this is more pinkish. This is more brownish, but look at all the granulation in there. Again, looks like the surface of a planet in here. It granulates so naturally and looks so beautiful. And I think that's something that I would have to consider. I don't know. I still think this color is a little bit nicer, but this is still a very pretty color. I don't know where I'm going with this. Okay, Royal Purples. This is the Purpurite Genuine. Not much to say about it. It's a very nice color purple, and I usually mix this color. But if I wasn't going to mix it and use it as a standalone, I would use it. It granulates beautifully. It's a very nice color. This is a sparkly color. I don't know. I'm going to try and move it here. Can you see any sparkle? Or am I just making you sick? But anyway, there's a sparkle in there. It's a little bit more subdued than this one, for sure. But it's still there. It's still nice. So the amethyst has a sparkle in it. It's very light. You can't really see it that much. It's a darker purple. It's nice for maybe you would use some of it in shadows or something like that. I could definitely see that being used as a shadow color and just kind of putting shadows in with it to make things a little bit darker and just pull things a little bit cooler on the temperature. This is the Sugar Light, or the Sweet and Low, if you will. I guess that's what Sugar Light means, right? It's not like really sugar. But anyway, that one sparkles quite a bit. I don't know. You might be able to use that on the black as well. I'm not sure because it's a light color. Again, it's just going out of focus. But there's some sparkle in there. You catch that at the right angle, you see some sparkle. Not as strong as some of the other ones. Stronger than the amethyst for sure, but not that bad. It's a nice color. You can see some granulation in there. Just pretty as a light purple color. I wouldn't use it. The tinting strength is way too low for me, but it's still a pretty color overall. That's a really pretty color. It doesn't look as dirty as I thought it would. That almost looks like the surface of a planet as well. You get that nice granulation. It's a different color underneath than it is on top, so you get that separation of color. You can see, especially right up here, you can see where the darker spots really pop and the lighter stuff comes through the bottom. It's just very nice. It's a very pretty color. I might get that color just to use it to play with. I don't know. I'm working on it. I gotta work on myself too. So there's these are the blue beauties. This is the Kyanite Genuine. This is the one I think I'm getting. Let's see if I can make it sparkle. You seeing it sparkle at all? Is it moving? You seeing any flecks in there? Anyway, it does sparkle, and it's pretty. It's a pretty color. So if I was going to lay this in, I'd probably lay it in a little bit thicker if I was going to use it, and then fan it out like this. Just use it just like this in a drawing or a painting or something, and then this would be, of course, where I put the shadow in and leave this all. I just think it's a very naturally nice looking color. So I really like that color. Very weak, and I'm not a fan of this. This is not, I don't like this color at all. I don't think it works very well for me, anything that I do. So I would not use this color. Same thing here with the turquoise. It's a pretty color. It is. It just leans a little bit too green for me. And I would like to, I'd rather like to see it a little bit more to the blue side, like I showed you with the phthalo blue shade. I'm sorry, the phthalo turquoise shade looks a little bit nicer than this to me. It leans a little bit more blue. Here's the Blue Apatite Genuine. Love this color. Use it all the time. The granulation, you can see it granulates very heavily. So you can put it on very thick. I can see granulation up in this top area here where it's put on very thick, and I can still see the granulation. Very nice color. It's just, I enjoy these colors because of what they do, and when I use them, how they make me more creative. So this naturally kind of spills into itself, as you can see. It's a pretty color. Amazonite Genuine, not one of my favorites, but you can see that it's a very pretty color. It's just not for me. It's just a little bit more green than I would use, a little bit more bright green than I would use. Okay, here's the, I'm not saying that word, but here it is. And this thing, it sparkles. You know what? You can see it more on the black paper. Okay, so there it is on the black paper. I don't know how much of the sparkle you can see, but that's basically all you're seeing is sparkle. There's no anything else. This is Twinkle Toes McGee right here. Just a very, very amazing color for what it does. I don't like it on the white paper, but on that black paper, I think it does amazingly well. Here's the Jadeite Genuine. Again, one of my favorite colors. You can get it almost black, or yeah, it looks almost black. But then it lightens up here, and you can see, I think it's coming up on the camera here, you can see in here some of the red coming through, some of that pinkish color coming through, and that's what I like about it. That's why I love using this color. I haven't used it a lot lately, but I do love using it, especially on heavy rough paper. That rough paper just really accentuates all the beauty of this color here. And here again, we're talking about that Serpentine Genuine. For me, that's a sap green. It's a granulating sap green, and I absolutely love it. And I would probably use this a lot more in the future. I had no idea that it did this, that it was this color. I've never seen it come out this color on anybody else's channel or anything else. If maybe they don't color grade, I don't know, whatever. It's not like I'm a professional and everything's perfect over here. But I'm just saying this, I've never seen this color come out like this, and I absolutely love it. I'm going to use this color. Okay, the Oceanic, this is again one of my favorite colors of blue. It's, some people call it like a denim color, but even the denim is a little bit too red for me. This is more of a greenish blue. It's just, it's a dull green. I love this color, and you can see even in the heavy spots, again, even all up here, you can see the granulation. I could take a pen right now and draw a bunch of stuff. I see what looks like an eye up in this corner here that has the lids and everything and the pupil, and it draws itself. So I love using this color for that reason. I use it a ton. Cayman Green, not my favorite. Definitely not one that I would use. It's a little weak with the tinting strength. It's not even a color I would even consider. That's the thing. So this Kingman Turquoise, they call it, is not. And if you look at, I get them both on the screen at the same time here. So if you look at this turquoise and this turquoise, this is a much nicer color than this is, in my opinion. It's also more turquoise than this is. To me, this is not a turquoise. It's something else. It's not a turquoise, but that's what they call it. The Upside Genuine. Now you can see these two are very similar, but this is a little too green for me. It's a little bit too dark of a green, like a, I don't even know, like just a stronger green, and I like this color better. I like the weaker green or the grayer green. I don't even know how to say it. You can see it. You see what I'm saying here. It's a little bit duller or more muted. Let's say that. It's very vibrant, but it's more muted than this color here, and because of that, I like it more. It's more towards like the Perylene colors, and which is the colors that I love. So this is definitely one of those. Okay, the Green Apatite Genuine. Let's get these four on the screen at the same time here. This color is pretty. If you notice, the granulation is in here all over the place. It looks very granulated. There's a lot of detail that kind of spills out into it. But it looks a little bit, like that granulation looks a little bit dark for me. Almost like it's black granulation. Where this doesn't. So overall, I would probably use these two and skip these two. But that's just me. I can definitely find a use for this. I'm on the border with this one here. I don't know if I'm going to get this one or not. Again, it gets dark, black dark. But it granulates. You can get it a little bit lighter. I don't know. I'm not sure where I am with it. Now in this one, I do see a little bit more brown in this area here. There's like a brown undertone or something. You can see the texture of the paper looks brown. But it's a very pretty color. I don't have a problem with it. Everyone loves this color. Everyone uses this color. Green Apatite Genuine is like the one thing when they put it down. This is my favorite color. But anyway, I don't know if I would use it more than these two. So it's just how it is. Okay, the Metamorphic Black. So this Sodalite Genuine, I thought it was going to look more like this. But anyway, this Sodalite Genuine is like a reddish blue. It's like a dark reddish. It's just not for me. I don't like the red blues. But if it's something you like, look at that granulation. It's absolutely beautiful. It is a beautiful color. I wouldn't hesitate to recommend this to anyone who likes that kind of color, that kind of indigo color, that stormy sky color. That's what it's for. It's that stormy sky in the painting of the ship that's being tossed around all over the place. Anyway, it's just a pretty color, but it's just not for me. This green color here is, I was tossing back and forth between whether I was going to use this one or whether I was going to use the Perylene green that I normally use. There they are next to each other, and I love this color green. I use it all the time, but this is a very nice color. It's a pretty color, and look at the granulation in here. It's extremely granulating, and it's a very pretty. I thought it was hard to re-wet in the last dot card set that I got, but this one, easy to re-wet, no problem at all. So I might get that one. Here's the Hematite Genuine, and like I said, it almost looks similar to, if you look at the Hematite Violet, is more red for sure under there. This one just kind of looks like it waters out, and there's just dirtiness on the paper. It's like dirt on the paper. That's all that is. But I guess you could make it look like a moon or something like that, and it would definitely granulate. It's very heavily granulating. That part of it is definitely the case. Very pretty in that regard. Just not necessarily from, maybe if you were doing like concrete or like cement or pavement or something like that, and that's what you were painting, this would be the color to go with. I would definitely use this. Almost looks like here that there's like a cylinder that's upright and the inside is darker, and then this side over here is more shaded than this side. So if you were doing that, if it was like a stone thing or whatever, this is the color to go with. And this black tourmaline, these two are very similar. If you look at the mass tone here, and then this one, I don't know if I can get, yeah, you can get them on the same page. So this mass tone here, and then right into this just keeps it all. It keeps that mass tone a little bit more. But you can definitely see all that granulation in here. Not a problem at all. It granulates heavily. So all in all, it's pretty good. Okay, so you sick of my nonsense yet? This is a very long video. I would apologize, but I need the watch time. So this is, I enjoy doing these. I hope you enjoy these. Now, if you enjoy watching me swatch these out, again, down below, leave me a comment. You enjoy watching me do this and leaving some absolutely ignorant comments on each color, then just go ahead and let me know down below. I'm going to do a drawing with these in the next video and see how that goes. But these are beautiful. I think that I can get some really nice colors. Again, it's missing a yellow. I know I keep saying that, but maybe this would be like it's still not a yellow. There's no yellows in here. I can find my browns, a lot of browns. I can find blues, greens. I can get a red and a purple out of here. There's a pink. But I maybe can get an orange out of one of these two. But I can't get, that's actually more, well, that's more of like a reddish orange, and that's more like of an yellow orange. Anyway, but I can't get a yellow. I don't see a yellow in these sets. It must be very hard to make a granulating yellow. If I go back to this Schmincke set here, this desert yellow here is just ugly. I don't like it. This is what I wanted, but it's not vibrant at all. It's ugly. I don't like it. And if I compare these two, I'm telling you, there are certain colors on here that are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. They just have a very weak tinting strength for the most part. Not all of them. Some of them are very nice. I just tend to go with the Daniel Smith. It's what I'm comfortable with. I can know that every color I get that I'm going to use is going to be very vibrant. I'm going to have to tone it down, as a matter of fact, to get down to where I can put it on the page and it isn't overpowering solid like this solid black color here. But that's okay. I enjoy using these. I'm going to try to find something in the Schmincke granulating set that I can just buy at least one and use it. I think, and this is just my mind, okay? I'm a lunatic, don't listen to me. But it just, every time I look at this, some of the colors get darker. Like this green color, this blue color, which is not really blue, this green color, which is blue, these are reversed. They didn't get them wrong, by the way. I did double check. These are the right colors. They're just, the way they named them was based on the title and then that. So if it was Glacier Blue is this, so Glacier Green is this. Well, Forest Olive, this is blue. It's the bluest green of the olive set. So, I mean, of the forest set. So that's just how they did it. Daniel Smith, on the other hand, I don't even know, they mixed up too many of these. There's too many of these that should be switched around. They're listening to me. They understand. We're pretty soon they're going to be sending me contracts and wanting me to be their spokesperson. You'll see. But this is just, I like the colors for the most part. There's a few I really don't like that I would never use. But the other colors, they're okay. They're pretty good. This tiger's eye is just an ugly color. I don't think I would ever use that. I wouldn't even use it if it was a yellow. It's an ugly color. But that's just me. And this has changed my entire opinion of the colors that I wanted to get. I was dead set on getting this color because everybody else does it on their channels. And I watch it on YouTube, and this is gray. It's not indigo. But when I compare it to indigo, it's indigo. So I don't understand. It's not the wrong color. I'm sure it's not. It's just because there's no other color it could be mistaken for. I have all the other colors on this sheet. So there's no other color that it was. But I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening here. So thumbs up the video if your favorite color is Twinkle Toes over here. Where is it? Here it is. This one here, which doesn't look, I'm telling you right here, it doesn't look like it's very sparkly. But as soon as it went on that black paper, that thing glows like someone's shining a light on it. And let me know, what was your favorite color? And please complain down below about how I don't know how to use granulating paint and that I need to use more water, or that I did do it unfair because I used more water over here than I did over here, or whatever you want to yell at me about. Just go ahead and yell at me. So long as you add the comments down below, it helps the channel. So yell away. I have no problem with that. All right. If you would like to join our community, go to illustrationsbypete.com. You can come in, you can put your own artwork on the site and promote it. You can find some inspiration in the free reference photos. You can just use them however you want in your artwork. You do not need to credit me. Or you can come into the forums and talk to some people and maybe give some advice and maybe find a little bit of information that helps you. So come check us out. All right, that's about it for me. I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next one.